Every history book you've ever read got it wrong. Not slightly wrong, not a few details, completely, fundamentally wrong about what we are and where we came from. For centuries, we told ourselves a clean, comfortable story that humanity rose slowly, steadily, from primitive cave dwellers to civilized builders, a smooth ladder climbing upward. But what if civilization didn't start the way we think? What if something collapsed long before any written record, and what we call the beginning was actually a restart? The evidence has been sitting beneath our feet for thousands of years, and most people will never hear about it. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the real story of human civilization. Not the sanitized textbook version, the version that makes archaeologists argue in closed rooms, the version with a 12,000-year-old temple no one can explain, the version where entire societies vanished without a trace, leaving behind monuments we still can't fully replicate today. By the end of this, the word primitive will mean something completely different to you, and you will never look at human history the same way again. Let's go back. Not 2,000 years, not 5,000. Let's go back 300,000 years to a species that looked almost exactly like you. Same brain size, same hands, same capacity for language, emotion, and abstract thought. Homo sapiens, us. For the first 250,000 years of our existence, we left almost nothing behind. A few stone tools, some cave paintings, scattered bones. And for a long time, we assumed that meant nothing was happening. We assumed that if there was no record, there was no story. That was our first mistake. Then, around 70,000 years ago, something shifted. Scientists call it the Great Leap Forward. Suddenly, humans started behaving differently. Art appeared, music appeared, long-distance trade appeared, complex language exploded. No one knows why. Some researchers point to a genetic mutation. Others suggest a near-death event, a supervolcano eruption that reduced the entire human population to perhaps 10,000 people. And somehow, in that near-death experience, we became something more. Pressure creates diamonds. Something about the edge of extinction ignited the human mind. But here is where the story gets strange. If modern human intelligence fully awakened 70,000 years ago, then why did civilization only appear 6,000 years ago? That is a gap of 64,000 years. 64,000 years of fully intelligent human beings with our brains, our creativity, our capacity for architecture, farming, and mathematics. Doing what exactly? Just wandering? Just surviving? That answer never satisfied the serious researchers. And in 1994, a Kurdish shepherd in southern Turkey stumbled onto something that blew the question wide open. What archaeologists uncovered beneath that hill would rewrite the timeline of civilization entirely. The site was called Göbekli Tepe, and it was not a village, not a cave, not a scattered campsite. It was a massive, intentionally built temple complex with 20-foot stone pillars weighing up to 10 tons each, carved with intricate animals and symbols, dating back 12,000 years. Not 6,000, 12. Built 4,000 years before the wheel, 6,000 years before Stonehenge, by people we had always called hunter-gatherers, people who, according to everything we thought we knew, weren't supposed to be capable of this. The implications were staggering. To build Göbekli Tepe, you need coordination, you need planning, you need a workforce of hundreds organized over decades, you need a surplus of food to feed them, you need a system of belief powerful enough to make people sacrifice years of their lives for a structure they may never see completed. In other words, you need civilization. And yet, mainstream history had placed the birth of civilization 3,000 miles away in Mesopotamia 4,000 years later. Something didn't add up. Something had been missed. Or something had been lost. Here is what very few people talk about. Around 12,900 years ago, right around the time Göbekli Tepe was being built, the Earth was struck by a catastrophe. Researchers call it the Younger Dryas Impact Event. A fragmented comet, some scientists believe, exploded across the North American ice sheet. The result was instant, catastrophic climate collapse. Temperatures plummeted. Sea levels rose by hundreds of feet as glaciers melted. Species went extinct by the thousands, and entire coastlines where most ancient humans would have lived were swallowed by the sea. The Library of Alexandria burning was a tragedy, but the ocean swallowing 10,000 years of coastal human civilization, that is not a tragedy. That is erasure on a scale so total, so complete that we forgot it even happened. We thought we were looking at the beginning of the story. We were looking at chapter 2. Here is the part that changes everything. Göbekli Tepe was not abandoned. It was deliberately buried. Around 10,000 years ago, the people who built it took the time, extraordinary, intentional effort to cover the entire complex under thousands of tons of dirt and rubble. Why would you bury your greatest achievement? Archaeologists are still debating it, but one theory gaining serious traction is this: they buried it to preserve it. They knew something was coming, a collapse, a forgetting, and they sealed their temple underground like a time capsule, a message to whoever came after, from a civilization that knew it was ending. They were right, and we almost missed it entirely. What actually happened is not one story, it is a cycle. Humanity has risen and fallen more than once, not in the dramatic Hollywood sense, not laser beams and flying cities, but in the quiet, devastating way that all great things end. Through climate shifts, through impact events, through the slow erosion of knowledge across generations. The ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, they were not the first chapter. They were the recovery, the rebuild, fragments of a deeper, older human story reassembling itself after catastrophe. The ancient myths of every culture on Earth, the floods, the gods who taught mankind, the golden age that was lost, they are not fairy tales, they are memories. Distorted, yes, mythologized, yes, but echoes of real events passed down across thousands of years by people who had no other way to say, this happened before. Do not forget. So here is the question that should keep you up at night. If an advanced civilization existed before the Younger Dryas, if whole cities now lie under the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean, then everything we have built, everything we call modern, everything we are so proud of, may have already existed once before. And it was lost. Completely lost. So completely that it took us 12,000 years just to find one buried temple in Turkey and start asking the right questions. We are not the pinnacle of human history. We may be the survivors of it. And the most unsettling part? If it happened once and we barely remember it, what would make us believe we are any different from the people who built Göbekli Tepe and then watched their world end? The stone is still there beneath that hill in Turkey, waiting, as if it always knew we'd eventually find our way back.